Hey everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with another episode of Nicole. So the next cutscene is November 2nd, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I take a moment to stretch my arms towards the sky. The sun feels so nice today. Lately, it's just been cloudy day after day. I was starting to think that the sun had gone on a permanent vacation. After Jeff and Ted brought it up, I looked up this arboretum place, and it turns out to be built into the park in town. Pretty nifty. That's why I'm waiting here for Jeff to arrive. He told me today was the day that we were going to find that midnight trome flower. I took the initiative of looking that up too. It's a very distinctive flower. The petals are this groovy shade of purple, and as you go toward the edge, they fade into white. It also has the shape like a peeled open banana peel. I don't know how else to describe it, but the petals hang off the sides, revealing the inside where the seeds and stuff should be. Not your typical flower, but on the bright side, it shouldn't be too hard to spot. But where's Jeff? You'd think he'd be here in the first place since he planned all this. I shield my eyes from the sun with a hand, and oh, there he is! I found him! Jeff's coming up the entrance, and he regards me with a surprised nod.
Why, you're prompt and early today. I thought I would be the first to arrive for sure.
As they say, the early bird gets the worm.
Yes, but since the midnight trome flower is our proverbial worm, let's not waste any more time. We leave immediately. I watch Jeff march ahead, moving with purpose.
Whoa, slow down. You act like we've got a stiff competition on our hands.
I doubt it, but you don't understand, assistant. The seconds that pass by while the flower is not in my grasp is a second of everyone's lives wasted.
I'm not gonna act like I'm not used to Jeff's self-entitlement by now. Better get moving before His Highness gets antsy. We head through the side of the park. There's no big sign that says, "Welcome to the Arboretum," but it's obvious when we reach it. It's like we're in a whole different place. There are way more trees here, and a small creek to the side of a well-paved asphalt path. Reeds and random species of brush poke out to anyone who stays too close to the sidewalk edges. But no flowers.
It doesn't appear like there are any species of the flower in this section. They must be in a different section.
Just how big is this arboretum anyway?
I'm an alchemist, not a civil engineer. My genius is dedicated to the medicines and medicines alone. But if I had to make a scientific assessment, I would say very big.
In other words, you're as clueless as me. I sigh and sag my shoulders, but it doesn't take too long for me to pep right back up. Guess that means we'll have to go exploring. Shouldn't be too hard to find, right?
It shouldn't, if Cowboy's words are to be believed.
Jeff starts off again, and it takes me a running start to catch up this time. It's not half bad walking through this place with Jeff. Whenever there's an especially neat-looking plant, he points it out and begins explaining all about it. The info he has can get way overwhelming, but I do pick up a few cool factoids. However, right as he's in the middle of explaining why those vines to the side are the color they are, Jeff spots a couple walking toward us from up ahead.
Curses.
I nearly jump. Jeez, he sounds petrified. I take a closer look, and there's nothing out of the ordinary about the guy and the girl. They look like your average college students to me. Do you know these guys?
One of them. I usually don't care to remember those who bore me, but I recall that girl and I shared a class together last year. We were partners in the same lab section.
But you didn't really like her, huh?
Not a single iota.
Well, don't panic. Just do what you do best and pretend you like her. Though that's really mean. I'm sure she's a nice girl. I take a second look at her. Dang, they're getting closer. She looks nice.
What she looks like doesn't matter. Just follow after me and maintain the ruse.
Jeff takes a second to clear his throat, then starts forward with a beaming smile. It's similar to the one he wore when he first approached me that one day. He's really good at this. It's almost like all he has to do is flip a switch, and instant Mr. Perfect.
Hey, A girl squeals in surprise as she spots Jeff, who called out to her. "Oh, hey." They approach each other like it's been a million years and meet in the middle of the sidewalk. "It's been a while. How are you?" "I'm just fine, thank you. And it hasn't been that long. Just last semester." "Yeah, but after summer vacation, it feels like forever, don't you think?" The two of them share a laugh over this. I have to hand it to Jeff. For a moment, I believe he's actually interested in anything this girl has to say. "What brings you to the Arboretum? Taking a walk?" The girl hugs the arm of the guy, making the tips of his cheekbones go red. "Aw, how sweet." "Yeah, it can get pretty around this time of day. What about you?" "This is perfect timing. We're looking for a specific exhibit. Do you know if there are any midnight trome flowers growing in this Arboretum?" "Oh yes. I'm not sure where exactly, but there's a flower garden somewhere near the back of the Arboretum. There should be some there." "Ah, really? Great. Guess that's our cue to go." Jeff points forward in a joking manner. "Thanks for the help. Have fun on your walk." "I hope you find the exhibit you're looking for." Jeff and the girl give off departing waves before they both make off in different directions. Once we're definitely out of earshot, Jeff groans tiredly. Could that have been any more of a waste of time? At least I managed to procure some information out of her. She was useful for that. That's a little mean, isn't it? She didn't seem bad. Bad she is not, but interesting? Worth my time? It's hardly the case. I only care about making this potion, nothing more. Jeff slyly grins at me. Honestly, you should leave the thinking to me and do your job, assistant. You allow your mind to be clouded by the most inane things. I feel something inside my head snap as I take in what he just said. Taking a deep breath and counting to 10 is not going to work. How dare he act so condescending to me when all I'm doing is being reasonable? Okay, you know what, Jeff? My mind isn't clouded by inane things. Unlike you, I just happen to give a hoot about other people. So just say whatever you want. I'm not stupid because I want to be nice. I'm way smart. Smart enough that I can find your stupid flower on my own. I stick my tongue out at Jeff before darting down the road ahead of him. And at least I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not in order for people to like me. I make sure to scream that last bit before he's out of earshot. Stupid Jeff. He's lucky I'm not the type of girl to back out of commitment, or I'd be running out of this arboretum rather than farther in. From here on out, it'd be better off if we both worked solo. Clearly, Jeff has outgrown his need for me anyway. I'm still fuming as I walk through the arboretum. I hate this. I hate being angry. It feels like I'm being sucked down into something gross and heavy. What is it that Dad says to do when you get in an argument? Try to see through the other person's shoes? Wait, no, it's step in the other person's shoes, duh. As much as I don't want to, I think about Jeff and try to get into that warped mind of his. But how am I supposed to do this if I don't even get why Jeff does half the things he does? Maybe the only reason this is happening is because we don't get each other at all. I stop walking as I get all philosophical on myself. It's true, isn't it? I can't say I know much about Jeff, and it's not like he knows that much about me either. We don't hang out often. We're not really friends. Our relationship is as professional as an unofficial contract can get, and frankly, that sucks. I twist the end of my ponytail in my fingertips. How can I change that? What do we have to do in order to understand each other? I should save that for another time, possibly after I find the midnight trome flower for Jeff and apologize for yelling at him. I'm sure I said some mean things, even if he was the one who started it. But hey, are those flowers over there? I can see different colors over the distance. I lift myself onto my tiptoes to try and see further. I'm like 95% sure those are flowers. The only problem is that the display is kind of at the bottom of this grassy incline. I look to my right. That way veers away from the flowers, and I came here from the left, so that's out. I guess I could just keep right and hope that I reach the flowers eventually, but I could also just make my way down this slope. There's no fence or anything, but I bet that's because they don't think anyone will be dumb enough to actually try and slide down it. It's not very steep, but this has to be dangerous. maybe even illegal. But if I take this way, then there's a good chance that I'll get to the flower before Jeff does. That alone is enough motivation to spur me along. I angle a foot flat on the slope and test to see if it's level enough for me to carefully step my way down. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm about to fall. This'll be a cinch. My other foot does the same, and soon I'm taking step after step, making my way down the slope. At least it's relatively short. I wouldn't be doing this if it was like a mountain. However, I don't know what happens, but my foot slips out from under me. I can barely gasp in pain before I fall hard on my butt and start tumbling down the hill. I yell in a panic as my vision blurs, full of dust and grass. I can't see anything. It gets in my throat, and it's like my lungs are on fire as I beat against the ground again and again. My rattled mind wonders if this will ever end, and I lose the feeling in my body. I black out before I even realize that I've stopped. When I come to, I'm lying on my back, staring up at the sky. Clear blue is slowly merging with the orange near the horizon. It must be nearing late afternoon. I groan and sit up, feeling like a doll with rusty joints. I seriously hope I didn't hit my head on something. I feel around my scalp. No blood. That's a good sign. I notice that there's a white bandage on my arm, however. Finally, you're up. My head jerks to the right, and Jeff's sitting cross-legged next to me. In his hands, he's holding a pot filled with soil and a very familiar flower. You found the midnight trome flower. I cough harshly as my voice sounds shot, like claws against metal. Yes, Cowboy was right when he said that we could find them here. I'll have to remember to torment him less harshly next time. He sets the pot between his legs and shuffles around so he's facing me. His voice is tight, like he's running out of air. How are you feeling? I feel like I just rolled down a hill. Jeff seems to relax as I find enough energy to crack a joke. Was he worried about me? How fitting. That's because you did. Imagine that. I try to laugh, but it comes out as a wheeze. Gross. I lick around my mouth and try to get rid of that dry feeling. Why are you here? You found your flower. Aren't you wasting everyone's lives just by sitting around? Jeff looks at me like I've spoken gibberish. If I went home, I would have left you alone. Oh, well, yeah, but... I try to word what I was about to say in a nicer way. I didn't think that it'd be too big of a problem for you. I pull my knees up and hug them to my chest. My body shivers a little, possibly from the trauma, but mostly because Jeff's attitude takes me completely off guard. Jeff doesn't seem all too comfortable with this either, and it takes him a moment before he can find the words to speak. In any normal case, it wouldn't be a problem, but you're my assistant, which makes me responsible for your well-being. It wouldn't reflect well on me if you were to die here. You know them, police officers. Jeff flutters his lips derisively. I recognize his attempt to lighten the mood and thank him silently. You managed to injure your arm, but I took care of that. Yeah, I noticed. I take a look down at the bandage again. I'm no expert, but it looks like you did a really good job at this. Where did you get the medical supplies? I had them on my very person, naturally. Impressed? I'm tempted to ask why he keeps medical supplies for no good reason, but I chalk it up to Jeff just being Jeff. But more importantly, I really don't know what to say. I yelled all that mean stuff about him, and then he goes and acts totally considerate and nice. So now we've got our options. Just tell him thanks, save your words, let out tears. So the option you're going to want to take is let out tears, which is kind of surprising, but yeah, it works. I can't stop the pressure building behind my eyes, and there are tears sliding down my face before I can turn away. Are you... Once he realizes that, yes, I am crying my eyes out, Jeff is thrown completely off kilter. What's wrong? Does it hurt more than I predicted? Is my medicine defective? I knew the recipe had kinks in it. No, it's not that. I stop blubbering for a second to wipe my eyes with my wrists. My body shakes as I start to hiccup, and as much as I try to control myself, it just won't stop. My words come out like vomit. You were just really nice, and I really wasn't expecting it. Or maybe it's because I fell down a hill? I don't know. Thank you so much. Even though I was mean to you before, you still helped me. I'm all out bawling by now. Unsure of what to do, Jeff uncomfortably places his hand on my shoulder. The gesture makes me cry even harder. Poor Jeff. Please, try to calm down. It was not as though I was very pleasant either. Mind you, I'm never truly pleasant, but I like to think that sometimes I can be reasonable. Jeff slowly drags his hand over to my back, and I can feel him rub up and down my spine. What you said was not without merit. It is true that I can't be friends with someone unless I pretend to be that perfect person they imagine me to be. But no loss. I consider it as less distractions from completing my potion. I choke out a laugh at his response. As predictable as it is, he can have such a one-track mind. Still, it doesn't make me feel better that he's not completely mad at me, and that he admitted that he was in the wrong too. A few shuddering breaths is enough to calm me down. Once I'm no longer hiccuping or crying, Jeff removes his hand from my back. All fine now? Yeah, I'm okay. I sniff and wipe my face one last time. I'm sure my makeup is all ruined now. I'm sorry that I blew up at you, Jeff. No need for that. I would have left you here alone if I felt otherwise. Jeff gets to his feet and extends a hand. He impatiently waggles his fingers at me. Going up? With his help, I pull myself to my feet with a wince. The scrape on my arm stings a little, but I can feel Jeff's medicine is really doing its job. Jeff bends over to pick up the potted flower, and I get closer for a better look. Hopefully at the flower and not at his butt. So, this is a midnight trome flower. It's a lot prettier close up than it was online. It smells good too. Not traditionally floral, but kind of sweet in a weird way. I concur. Luckily, the Arboretum had some of these on sale. We didn't have to go through the trouble of stealing one. I laugh nervously. Alright, I never thought about how we'd get the flower if it wasn't for sale. Huh? It's against the law to take flowers from public places, right? Very much so, Assistant. But we have averted the situation for the time being. We can leave the law-breaking and rule-crushing for another time. With the pot cradled under an arm, Jeff starts a few steps ahead. He soon stops mid-step and mutters under his breath, like something's wrong. Jeff turns back to me. Do you feel well enough to move? We can wait a few minutes if you require. The fact that he's showing concern is enough to make me ignore the dull pain I can feel all over. I beam and grab my hands behind my back. I think I'll be A-okay. Aw, Jeff cares. He's so cute. So I'm going to end this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more, just click the eye at the top and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.